publicly available for all of us to watch it back.
Yeah, great.
So not only publicly available. Who said that? Who just answered that question?
Me.
Okay. Luca, why don't you, is
Yeah.
there a reason you don't have your camera?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
bedridden.
oh, okay.
I
Yeah,
I emailed
okay, I should be there too. Fine, no problem. So Luca, besides that, is that besides, can anyone watch it? Everybody, you want to repeat my question? Is it just this class that can watch it? You want to repeat that, Isa?
She's asking if we're the only ones that have access to the YouTube. What do you guys think?
No, everybody does.
Anybody that what has internet access, they can go to live YouTube and basically look at what's available live at that time. And if you tell the subject area, they can find it. So that's the beauty. Not only can we do it publicly, can somebody view it anonymously? Isa, you want to ask that question?
Can somebody view it anonymously?
Do we need to do we need to, is that possible in YouTube? What do you think, Hunter? Did you understand the question?
No, can you ask it again, please?
Isa?
Do you think that somebody can anonymously look at our live stream on YouTube?
Um, if it's public, I think anyone can watch it, but if it's unlisted, it's just like us that can
I,
watch
I,
it.
unlisted, unlisted, or what's the other one? Private. You have to give a link. Yeah. But but sometimes you want to make it open. You want to advertise something. You want to say, hey, is this a class for me? Or you could do it if you're going to be AI consultants. You have a group inside Blackboard. You have a group inside Zoom, and then you can make it available to the world, or you can limit it. And you can send out flyers, use this link. So yes. Okay. So we got that part. So maybe we can do share and we can look at the what's due section. So Isa, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So this, if I look at this, then Ava Falcone, if we look at this, what are we looking at right now?
The YouTube.
YouTube, the YouTube live stream, right? Is it what can then we make a summary or basically summarize? What's the difference? Do we see the same thing at the same time
It's
on
like
YouTube
delayed.
Live and in Zoom and in our Zoom? I didn't hear you, Ava.
I can't really hear you.
Okay. Isa, you want to tell?
She she's saying that it's delayed.
Okay.
So she answered.
Okay. So it's delayed. Okay, perfect. I go to, and you'll just repeat it. It's like we're an act, Isa, in the audit area. What my question is then in the audit area, Aiden, is what's the difference between my audit course and my regular course? You want to repeat the question, Isa?
Yes, Aiden, she's asking what's the difference between the audit
Yeah.
section and the regular section?
Sorry. The regular section is where we have like more student permissions, and that's where you post all of our like quizzes and homework and whatnot, versus the audit section is where we have like TA responsibility and can edit and change stuff and change other people's work.
You have full editing capability, right? You can add, you can delete, you can create folders, you can delete folders, you can upload. Very good. So what is it? Your role has changed, right? So, but they all have the principle of least privilege, meaning I wanted you to be able to create and learn to be administrators of Blackboard. So I needed to change your role. Okay. So let's go to what's due. And if we went to this, I need to then change, right? Basically, also, Isa, if you look here, this needs to be changed. Tell Lily this needs to be changed the date, right?
Okay.
So, Aiden, we're good with this. So for last week, we had the assignments, we had hardware tech and hardware link. So we went through this and put in the text, Isa, if you've had any problem with assignment 1. Okay. So Isa, people can text you if there's any additional problems with assignment 1.
Mhm.
For this Wednesday, everybody knows there's assignment 2, which is a group assignment. And the idea here is I want you to practice, right, Aiden? Practice everything you did in assignment. In this assignment 2, right? Plus, I want you to add additional features and act as a group and show as a tutorial. So if you look at the assignment instructions, what I want to make sure is you have at least one person that can stream live to YouTube. So one of you in your group needs to be the originator, has to create a new Zoom meeting, invite others. And when you come together, you will start recording to the cloud. And you will be also streaming live to YouTube. So in this case, Aiden, how many files will you have? How many links?
Would it be it'd be 3, correct?
What is it? You'll have your YouTube live link. What else?
And then you'll have your cloud link
Right.
and then
what's
your local recording link.
Okay, does it ask for local recording here?
Um,
I'm not sure. So you'll look
no.
at it. So one of the things I would like you to make sure, and Issa explain to them how they should approach this, where everyone prepares before they go into their group meeting. Can you go into that in more detail?
Yeah, I would definitely say before you guys come together and do everything so you guys are not there for an hour plus, like in the group chat text what steps each person is going to be taking care of. Just make sure that whoever is setting up the meeting is also going to be live streaming to YouTube. So make sure that you have a working YouTube account for each group. So definitely divide and conquer the work that way so that you guys are not there for an hour plus trying to figure out who's doing what and so on and so forth.
Also, what I'd like is before you go into the meeting is I want everyone to understand all these features. So for instance, making sure what AI companion is that you know when you're going to have co-hosts, go ahead and try to see what does it mean to promote a co-host? What does it mean to do breakout rooms, spotlight, polls, chat? know this ahead of time. And then what is nice is even try on your own to create a poll. In creating a poll, what I do is I'd create a poll, and you want to let them know the content of the poll is maybe use something from the chapters of the book, use something from maybe one of the quizzes, or use something from the adaptive. So you can use it where people can use it as a review. So you can use it from the chapters that you went over. And basically, the way you submit, you can go through that. All right. Anything else? If I look at anything else that we would need to look at. So if I looked at group 0, and you want to tell everybody, make sure that everybody should have that Zoom group assignment, and make sure that you put, oh, this is something I wanted to add, Isa. And I told Lily about it. Everybody pay attention to this. And you may want to even put a note there. You can even change it now, Isa, is put who was the host and who live streamed. So who did that? Was that Anastasia here? It looks like.
Yes.
So just go ahead and edit it here, right? And put dash host and live streamed. And in this also needs to be changed is what I'd like to have the date and the time of this hub file. So this needs to be, in this case, when you're going to go ahead and edit it, you see it right here. You may want to then tell Anastasia, text her and tell her she needs to change this to the date, time, and then who's done it on the Zoom hub. And then you can even put underneath it picture of hub.
Okay, I will text her.
Yeah, so let her change it. So when we look at it, this was her hub. So in this case, you see the Zoom hub, where it almost looks like a way of all what they say. They call it, let me just move this. They call it your assets. And you can see any of your clips, your folders. So everything that you've done, you have a record of. So maybe even call it Zoom assets by keywords. So that's why it's good that we review it. So this should be date and time. And hopefully on our PowerPoint. And this should be also put here. This we can do right away, right? When I go to edit.
Yes.
Right at this point. Everybody see what I'm doing? Host. Now, Roxy, do this basically in the sample Zoom account, could you have done it? Could you add it like I do?
What do you mean? Like,
You
oh,
see
no.
how I'm editing group 1's, group 0's work. Could you
Yeah.
have done it?
Yes, because we're all CAs in that.
Yeah, we all have it. So that's why, Roxy, what? Isn't that nice that you could tell somebody in your group, oh, can you add that? I'm not available or something, right? But what do we make sure that we have to do here is I have to make sure, click submit, right? right here, right, Roxy? And then do you see it? So this is what you want to do is who was the host and who streamed live to YouTube. Why is that important for us to know, you think, Isa?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah. Why do I want host and live stream to YouTube for team members?
So that you know who's in charge of the recording, except in case you need to ask something or there's a
Right. And
malfunction.
also, who in the group, we know at least that person in the group has a YouTube live account, right? That they can stream, that it works for them. So this is kind of the roles the people had done. You know what I mean? Okay. So these are ways that we can do it. Aiden, are there any comments? Or Ava in the group? Any questions anyone has?
No.
Okay. Pretty straightforward, right? What do you think, Aiden, about the next assignment? How would you summarize it?
I would say it's just like getting to know like the next steps of Zoom and how we can utilize it in the future.
Right, plus group. The
Right.
key is they're group features that, for instance, that you can do polls. If you do, why is polls? It needs a group, right? I need somebody to create the poll. I need somebody to launch the poll,
Yeah.
right? So let's do a poll. Issa, do we have a poll for today?
Sure, we can do one of the questions from the
Hardware.
chapter.
What?
Do you want to do one of the
From,
questions from the chapter?
yeah, do you have another? We can do other ones from the chapter. You can use somebody else's let's do for hardware.
Is that chapter 2 or is that chapter 1?
It should be TG1.
Okay.
Okay, so how many are there? There's 3.
There's 5 questions.
Oh, there are 5 questions. Okay, let's do them. You want to read them out loud while the people do it?
Sure. So for the first one, which hardware component provides for the flow of data between the CPU and external computer networks?
And read the
Is it temporary storage, input technologies, output technologies, or communication technologies?
okay. And what's number? Let me just
These
make-
are great for great practice for the exam, by the way.
yeah.
So I would try to actually know this. There we go.
Yeah. Okay. What's number? Let me just go to number 2.
Number 2 is what is a data item? Is it a
Okay.
group of information that has been organized into structure, a simple table of related things, information that has been processed and giving meaning, or an elementary description of things that are recorded?
Okay. What's number 3?
For number 3, you run a booming business that processes millions of transactions per day. As such, your TPS should be performed at teraflop speeds. This means your TPS is most likely either a microcomputer, mainframe computer, supercomputer, or a wearable computer.
Okay.
For 4, in contrast to virtual reality, augmented reality replaces your vision of reality with a simulation, enhances the user's perception of reality rather than replacing it, is a non-live view of the real world, or is it replaces the user's perception of reality rather than enhancing it? And then the last one, the part inside the CPU that performs mathematic calculations and logic comparisons is called the control units, registers, ALU, or the RAM.
And when you take the quiz, you want to tell them that it also is part of their class participation because we have everybody that responds. We
Yeah.
know who responded. You want to say that? Let them know.
So make sure you guys are replying to these so that we can give you your participation points. Because right now we only have 62% participation out of 37.
And then in this case, you'll get a 0 for not participating in the poll.
We're almost there. There we go.
Okay, we'll wait till we get to if not,
Okay, 7 more people, guys.
okay. So if not, that's fine too, you know.
Should I close it?
We'll give another minute
Okay.
and then we'll start. So this is about hardware, and hardware is really becoming super important because of the advent of AI. Think about it. AI collects all the information on the internet. When you're using ChatGPT, think about how quickly, after you prompt, how quickly you get a response. In order to get those responses, they need to have fast processing speeds. So, okay, you want to end the poll?
Sure.
Okay. So, all right. So let's look at number 1. 78% got it. So let's think about, can you read me the question again,
Sure.
Isa?
Which hardware provides for the flow of data between the CPU and external computer networks?
Okay. So the CPU is what? The CPU is, think about it as the brains of the computer. And what do we have? We're going to have data. Once it's processed, what can we do with data? We can save it to, it's basically external computer networks. We can have it save it to other networks. So in essence, we need to have technology that will be able to communicate. Many times you want to save your data and you want to save it to the cloud. All of that is done with communication technology. Okay. And what about question? Let me go to question 2. Does question 2 have the correct answer here?
I don't see it.
Okay.
It doesn't specify which one it is.
Okay, so let's think about it. What is a data item? We think about a data item. Here we talk about it is a group of information that has been organized in a structure, a simple table, information that is processed and is given meaning, an elementary description of things that are recorded. When we talk about a data item, we're talking about the simplest way. So if I think about a data item and I think about your grade book, Aiden, if I think about your grade book, what's an item in your grade book? If I think about it, is your first name, last name, is that an item?
Wouldn't it be more like one of the quizzes we took or like the adaptive learning stuff?
Right. What about it?
Well, wouldn't that be an item?
What is an item? We're talking about data. So your name, is that a data? Is that
Yeah.
an item? Yes. Your first name, your last name, your phone number. Just like when we do group 0, when you had to put in your first name, last name, your email, all of those are data items. So in that case, it's an elementary description of the things that are being recorded. So let's go to number 3. Can you read me 3?
Yes,
Isa.
you run a booming business that processes millions of transactions per day. As such, your TPS should perform at teraflop speeds. This means your TPS is most likely a.
And in this case, what we're going to do is, since it's teraflop speeds, it's most likely then, in this case, a mainframe. Supercomputers we have to first figure out what is the initials, and we're going to have a lot of acronyms. What does TPS stand for? So what we have to do in terms of TPS is what? We have to look it up. So go ahead. Everybody can take their phone, right? And then they can look up TPS, right? So in this case, am I sharing? I guess. So what do we find as TPS? Lev, did you look it up? The initials TPS in
Oh,
IT.
sorry, I didn't look it up. Sorry.
Well, let's go.
Just TPS.
Uh, Everybody do that. Because that's what you're going to get. All of a sudden, you're going to get in the multiple choice. If you don't know what TPS is, you're stuck, right?
Is it transactions per second?
Okay, transactions per section, right? So where do we get transaction per section? We get it all the times that if I go to, do you ever make online reservations to go on a flight, Lev?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the transaction is you getting your ticket. Do you want those transactions? Do you think you're the only one? There are millions of people getting it, right? So in those
Right.
millions, it's basically I want an area in which transactions per second are not going to basically say, hey, I ordered a ticket, and guess what? The ticket's gone. Has anyone ever been stuck in getting tickets for a concert and all of a sudden you can't get in? The server basically has stopped. Anybody raise your hand? It's ever happened? When you ever try to get tickets, it's those transactions per second. They weren't, the server wasn't prepared, the computer, to take the loads of transaction it had. Maybe it was prepared to take 1,000 transaction per second, but not millions. So that's why it's important to have that done in terms of it. Number 4, can you read it for me, please?
In contrast to virtual reality, augmented reality.
Okay. In contrast, so virtual reality, so we need to find out what's the difference between virtual reality and augmented reality. We're going to need to figure out what's the difference between virtual reality and augmented reality. Hey, Gemini, I'm a professor in management information systems, and I have my group here online, and I want to find out what's the difference between virtual reality and augmented reality. Can you explain to the students?
Certainly. Hello, everyone. Virtual reality, or VR, immerses you in a completely artificial environment, like a simulated world. Augmented reality, or AR, overlays digital information or images onto your real-world view. Think of VR as fully immersive and AR as interactive. Does that distinction make sense?
Give us an example.
All right, here's an example. Imagine using a VR headset to explore a historical site that's modeled in 3D. You're completely immersed in that environment. Would you like another example?
I'd like a business example.
Absolutely. In business, VR could be used for training employees in a simulated environment. For example, practicing customer service interactions or responding to emergencies. AR could be used by technicians to see instructions or diagrams overlaid onto a piece of machinery as they work on it. Does that help clarify things further?
So how would you summarize if the students had to explain what's the difference between augmented reality and virtual reality in a business situation? What would you say?
In summary, For business, virtual reality provides a fully immersive simulated environment for training or product visualization, while augmented reality overlays digital information onto the real world, enhancing tasks like maintenance or on-site support. Would you like to delve into any specific applications of these technologies?
How do they use it in healthcare?
VR and AR in healthcare are used for surgical training, patient education, and pain management. VR immerses patients in calming environments, while AR overlays medical information onto real-world views. Just a reminder that I can't provide medical advice and that you should always.
You're funny, Gemini. Thank you. So, if that's the case, if we wanted to now do, what was the question then that we needed to do if I wanted to share my screen? Do we have it on the screen? You want to share your screen?
Do you want to see the poll
Yeah,
itself?
the poll.
Oh, sure. It's right here.
So read that one again.
Oh,
Number 4.
in contrast to virtual reality, augmented reality enhances the user's perception of reality rather than replacing it.
So when would it, so let's look at that question again. So if I looked at the top of that question, in contrast to virtual reality, augmented reality. So basically, augmented reality, the key is we see something. It's real. So put in your notes that augmented, it's going to add on to what we see. Versus virtual reality, everybody is putting those goggles before, and you're just like in another world. In augmented reality, what we could do is, for instance, a surgeon actually would see the patient, but they could be different directions and pointers to see how somebody could surge somebody. So in that case, the correct answer is that it enhances the user's perception rather than replacing it. And number 5.
The part inside the CPU that performs mathematics calculations and logical comparisons is called the.
Okay, when we think about a CPU, then what is important is the CPU has the brains of it, and one of the components of a CPU is what we call the arithmetic logic unit. What does that mean? I need the computer to add, subtract, multiply, divide, and to be able to have a comparison to say whether one number is larger or greater than, less than, or equal to another number. Just having that arithmetic logic unit that has process of the CPU. So that is, think about it. ALU stands for arithmetic. When you think about arithmetic, you can think about mathematical. Okay? So you can stop sharing. So if I wanted to, in this case, let me share. And if I'm going to share my screen, I want to, we see here in the Zoom assignments, do you see my screen, Isa?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So on my Zoom assignment, if I go to Wiley and adaptive, right? And anytime you do with the hardware, you can see that you have that part of the central processing unit. And what also is important for you to understand for the exam is what they call the computer hierarchy. If I go to the computer hierarchy, that section, I can also open up my PowerPoint. And they talk about different computers. And here are some, you can see here, these are some sections with that. And Can you see my PowerPoint, Isa?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So this is going to be important. There's a lot of jargon, but let me just show you what's important to talk about. First of all, there's a computer hierarchy of hardware. So you can think about it. Supercomputers are the most, and these supercomputers are probably starting to be, they're rare and they're more in the AI centers. The mainframe computers, anything that you can think about, like Amazon, or you can think about it in terms of Microsoft, have mainframe computers. And PCs, you all know, laptops, notebooks, tablets, all are wearables. And now, in terms of wearables, there's so much that's going on with pins, recordings that you can have that is important. This area is important when we need to know the difference of in the CPU, that's the brains. Whenever I have a program like PowerPoint, for instance, that resides on my hard drive, when I call it up, it makes a copy of PowerPoint into what we call RAM, my random access memory. So in this case, what we'll have, and let me look at the point here, is right here. This, you see this, everybody see this in the C is part of it. If you think of it, in my computer, the parts of my microprocessors is I have something called primary storage. And my primary storage is where my software is stored. My primary storage is where I operate on my current application. It gets stored in my primary storage. What's another term for it is RAM. So primary storage, if I think about primary storage, another name for it is random access memory. And secondary storage is like my hard drive. Secondary storage may be my OneDrive. Secondary storage may be my Google Drive. And then if I want to go out, I also can go through other communication devices or go to a printer. This is the area of what I call my CPU. So that is important for you to understand. And in this case, if I think about how it works, this is RAM. I get inputs from the software. My instructions go into the control unit, which is like a traffic cop. It goes and it executes some arithmetic units. It gets stored and it gets stored back into RAM. And RAM is what I call volatile. So when I think about it being volatile, I have my computer memory. This is what you need to understand. People get confused. I have how much memory do I have? What's my primary storage and what's my secondary storage? My primary storage is always going to be where I use the program. Secondary storage is where I save my results. Examples could be hard drive. Examples could be flash drive.
Excuse me, by the way, Lisa
Yes.
said that she had to like get off the call really quick because she's taking a call, but she'll be right back.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Perfect. This is another thing. In computer memory, there's a hierarchy. The hierarchy in computer memory is what we call, and if you look down here, let me just make sure. When you look at your slides and you have them available to you in your Blackboard, but if you look at your slides here, you can think here that you have a bit, which is the smallest amount of memory that you can have, and it's either on or off. Think about it as on or off. Think about it as a 1 or a 0. A byte, in this case, represents 8 bits, and that's like a character. So Ava, your first character in your first name is what? A, right? So
Yeah.
1 byte would be the letter A. A V would be another byte. So you would have 3 bytes in your first name. A kilobyte is then basically, we can think about it, is 1,024 bytes. And a megabyte is approximately like 1,000,000. And a gigabyte, you can think about it as like 1,000,000,000. And you say to yourself, who cares? When you see, if you ever hear about it, I have 64K or I have 128K. These are how much storage you can store in your computer memory. The key is you always want to have as much memory as possible. So primary memory is also called main memory, and these are the 4 types of primary storage. One is called RAM, and data is going to be processed through it. The other one is going to be called read-only memory, and this is what we call non-volatile. That means when your computer shuts down, you lose all your data. Read-only memory, I made a mistake. Excuse me. It is volatile, meaning that it gets erased. Read-only memory is brought from the manufacturer, and this is non-volatile. This has the instructions just to turn on your computer or turn on your phone. You can think about this as permanent. And then you have another part where they talk about secondary storage is outside RAM, where you save it in a more permanent access. So this is, you can think about it, is a way in, you can think about it as saving your work. And that is for the next chapter. So do I want to save that? I don't want to save this. So if I wanted to, let me stop sharing. And if I want to now think about it, let me share my computer here. I look to what's due. for Wednesday, I have this is required for everyone for Wednesday. Find out how much RAM and secondary storage you have on your computer. So, how would you find that? Do you understand? In this case, Travis, what am I asking you to find out from
I'm
your
sorry, could you
assignment?
repeat it?
Yeah, look at assignment. If I look at assignment for Wednesday,
Oh yeah, assignment for Wednesday.
yeah, look at what it says under miscellaneous.
Find out how much RAM and secondary storage space your computer has.
Uh-huh. How could you, do you know?
I know on Windows, I'm not sure on Mac.
Okay. What do you have now? What are you using now?
I'm on a Mac.
Okay. So on Mac, what would you do?
I know on Windows you can just you can
Okay.
check there. I'm not
So
sure on
how
Mac.
could you find out?
Just ask AI or just look it up.
Right. Right. On a Mac. What are the commands in order to find out how much RAM I have and what secondary storage is? Hey, Gemini,
Just
I'm a professor in MIS, and I want the students to find out how much RAM and secondary storage they have on their computer. Most of them have a Mac computer. Can you give us instructions on how they can find out how much RAM they have? And you can do the same.
Certainly. For Windows users, they can find their RAM and storage information by opening the Start menu, searching for System Information, and opening that app. RAM will be listed under Installed Physical Memory, RAM. For storage, they can click Disk Management from the same app, or search for it separately to see their drives and partitions. Would you like those instructions summarized as well?
I want summarize for Mac. Summarize the commands for Mac to find out how much RAM they have.
The assignment on the screen includes an item for that.
I know that. Great. I see you read my screen. So do you want the students to find out on their own rather than helping them? So everybody do that. Find out how much RAM you have on your computer.
8 GB.
Okay, 8 GB. So gigabytes, how many did we say was gigabytes? That's about what? 1 million, right? So you have 8. Who else has some? Who else found it? I want everybody to do this. We're not
I
limited.
have 24 gigabytes.
24 gigabytes, okay? So more. Okay, who else?
I have 18.
18. Okay, who else?
I have 16.
16. Okay, so 8, 16. You see how it kind of goes? What else? Anyone else? Who has more than 16? Justin, how much do you have? So one of the
Sorry,
things
Professor, can you?
well, we had an assignment right now to do.
Yeah.
Everybody was doing it. Okay, who else has it? Who else has done it? Eli, what did you find?
Mine's 16.
16, okay. So who cares? We have one student that has 8 gig and one who has 16. So Eli, if you were So what would you care? If you were going to be a Gen AI consultant, and why would we care? You have any idea?
No, I have no idea.
What do we say in terms of where is that 16 gig? It's in RAM, meaning when I'm going to do any calculations, it's going to need space to do those calculations. When I need to copy the program and do extensive, let's say, extensive Excel processing, do you think it would be better I had more RAM or less? Eli,
More
more. What's your major, Eli?
finance.
Finance. So when you think about predicting the stock market, what's tomorrow's price going to be? And they're going to be using, let's say, some AI models. You think they want to have more or less? Of course, they want to have more. So many times, depending on the problems that you're going to do, you're going to have to ask for what? To expand the RAM. Sometimes what you can do, Eli, is that you can use computers that are located somewhere else and they'll do the computation for you. For instance, Amazon has something in the cloud where you can basically like rent their computers, or you can do some work in the lab and then other works renting other computers. So that's why it's important that everyone does it. So for Wednesday, part of your assignment then is to find out, Ava, is what? How much RAM you have and how much what? Storage you have too. And how much did you find out both, Ava? Ava
I don't
Lee.
have the Mac, so I have to look up how to find it online.
Right. So it doesn't matter. Do we have access to AI? Do I allow you to use AI? Do I want you to use AI? Why? We're not born with this, right, Luke? Nobody, why not take advantage and have them as your companion AI? And then then what we have to do is find out, why do we need to know that? Why is that important? And when you're a head of a finance group, and they say, hey, it's just too slow, what could possibly be a problem is that we may have to see, maybe we need to have more RAM in our computers. And what about external storage? Anybody find external storage? Travis, did you find your external storage?
Yeah, I had about like 1 TB, I think.
1 TB. Great. And how much RAM, Travis, do you have?
18 GB.
18 gigabytes. So you so far are one of the higher ones. And why would you care that you have a lot of hard drive? You have a terabyte of hard drive. Why is that going to be better than 500 gig?
Because you could store a lot more stuff. So I guess if I use this a lot, like for all 4 years of college or so, then I guess I could just have a lot of documents and stuff on my computer.
Right. Or let's say that we were doing, right, that I had all my photos and a latter time is when I'm going to store, let's say we were a finance group. What's your major, Travis?
Finance.
Finance. You had your finance group that a lot of things you want storage here, but you also want to store it where? In the cloud as well. You want to have it as backup on both because sometimes, guess what, Travis? You don't have internet access. Also, you don't know when another vendor is down. So it's going to be important for you to have it also on. It's almost like locally. Remember, like the local recording? Also,
Yeah.
it's the same. And then you can store a lot of the programs maybe there and a lot of your data there. And then you can have AI even help you sort it out and clean it up. But that's the reason, the difference. So what you have in storage, is it going to be used immediately, calculated? No, it's going to be just for storage. But what it is if you have a spreadsheet, Travis, and what you've done, you saved it. You could save it to the cloud, but you also could save it locally onto your storage. And if you want to use it again, where's it going to be loaded to?
If I want to use it again, like if I were in the process of opening it.
Yeah. Where's it going to be loaded to? From your hard drive to where?
Like the CPU.
The CPU to RAM, right? So in memory there, in RAM, that's where you're going to be using it. So guess what, Travis? If you have a complicated spreadsheet and now you told me you have 18, you have what? 18 gig.
Oh yeah.
Now notice, this is another great question for the test, Travis. You're on a roll. Do I usually have less a space in RAM or my hard drive?
Less space in RAM.
Let's say, what is more expensive, RAM or my external storage per
RAM.
kilobyte? RAM. RAM now, Travis, it's gotten to be very expensive. Why? Because AI, all those centers like OpenAI and Microsoft, all are creating data centers. And guess what they needed to do for all their calculations? They need a lot of RAM. So the price has gone through the roof for extra RAM, where a couple of years ago, it was cheap. So the percentage has gone up. Why? Because all of this AI needs a lot of RAM. So you have a good idea that any of the calculations you're doing in the spreadsheet are being done in RAM. Because why? RAM is very quick. It will respond quickly to me. And if it's still slow, Travis, you'll tell your group, guess what? I want to either get a new computer or I want to buy more RAM and upgrade my RAM so I can do my speed. And in finance, sometimes time is of essence, right? That I need to get
for
those
sure.
results. What?
Oh yeah, I said for sure. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, for sure. But I want everybody to understand that concept rather than saying, oh, guess what? She has 8, somebody has 12, somebody has 18. They said, who cares? It cares because if you really, and if I'm not doing anything heavy arithmetic, logic, computations, then it's good enough. So for some things, it's good enough. And other ways, Travis, you say, for our heavy duty ones, we'll get 128 gigs of RAM and we'll basically rent it in the cloud and have it do our AI modeling. And then we'll bring it down to do additional processes. Sometimes what we'll even do is take a couple of computers together and cluster them together and combine our RAM together, and we can work on one task. Does that clarify it?
Oh yeah, it's
Perfect.
clear. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, Isa, anything else that we can conclude? So, what can we conclude today? We can conclude that when we talk about hardware, that besides the input and output, that we talked about the CPU, and among the CPU, we had that arithmetic logic unit to do the computations. And then we had, in this case, in our processor, we had RAM. And that RAM, really what it does, it resides on a chip and it allows us to do the processing in real time. And in that case, it is called volatile. Travis, what does volatile mean?
Like
That I
not
can
like the
lose
opposite
it.
of static, like it changes a lot.
It changes. And also, when you turned on your computer, and if you didn't save your work, you lost it in RAM. So some programs will automatically save it to where some type of additional drive or in the cloud. Or what you can do is, that's why RAM is what we call volatile. If I can, I can't hold on to the data. I have to, before I log off, I have to make sure it's saved. And it can be saved in some type of secondary storage. That's what we learned today. Okay, perfect. Okay, Isa, any last comments?
Just making sure that, excuse me, everybody has a time to meet with their group because the assignment's due on Wednesday, so hopefully you guys have that sorted out.
Perfect. And guess what? On Wednesday, Travis, we'll have a new assignment, right? And the new
Okay.
assignment will be do something individually and meet with the group to basically collect. And what we're going to do after is finding other ways to record what we do. Because guess what the problem is? Many times we will have problems. I guarantee you throughout the semester, we will have issues. And one of the first things we want to do is document our issue. And then once we figure out what's the solution, we can document the solution. And we're going to figure out more and more documentation where we'll have individual and we'll have a group. Okay. Anything else? So you want to do roll, attendance,
Sure.
and stay with me if you have questions.
The code's 2896.
2896. Okay, you want to stop sharing? And you'll put it in the chat too, right?
Yes.
And hopefully my voice will come back someday. And thank you for checking my chat. Ava and Aiden, thanks. And Issa, thank you for helping me out.
Of course. We still have 8 people who haven't taken attendance.
Okay. Well, it's up to them.
Yeah.
They'll stay with us if they're still having issues.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Professor, I had a question about the poll we took. I didn't take it because it never popped up on my Zoom screen.
Okay.
So I was having trouble with that.
Okay. So try to figure out a chat with Issa. Sometimes it may be hidden behind. You know, you may have to minimize some of the windows.
Did the
Gotcha.
QR code I sent you work?
Well, the quiz is already closed by then, so I couldn't take it.
Oh.
Okay. So next time. So try to find out. So try to do it right away.
Yeah.
I mean, try to contact Issa right away and see.
Let me know if
Here's the
this
joke.
comes up on your screen. Did that do
Do you see it
anything?
now?
Yeah, that worked.
Okay, so yeah, I was probably hiding behind your tab somewhere.
Got it.
It's hiding. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Of
My
course.
pleasure. You wanna?
Do you want to stop recording?
Yeah. I wanna